Welcome everyone to the eMedica AKT Pass Guarantee Program. This is the 90-day program for the April exams, and this is orientation. So what this is a chance to do really is a chance for you to meet the team, understand how does the program work. I'll walk you through and talk you through how to complete the daily tasks, how to submit your weekly tasks, and then there's a chance for you to ask any questions. So use the chat as you've been doing to pass any comments, to get involved in the discussion. If you've got a question that you'd like myself or the faculty to answer, please use the Q&A rather than the chat to ask that, okay? Right, so before we get into it then, you will have seen this in your welcome pack for those that have already received them. For those that maybe signed up very recently, your welcome pack will be on its way to you soon. But this is a very famous saying attributed to Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher, that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And it can feel like preparing for AKT is a journey of 1,000 miles. The curriculum's huge. Putting in the hours of study, covering such a range of different topics, while you're also working, you've got your e-portfolio, you've got on-calls, you've got various other things, and you've got your family life, everything else going on. It can seem like a really big task. So really want to say thank you for trusting our team to help support you along the way, and well done on taking a huge first step. Because once you've done that, you're here now, right? You're on this first step. We've broken down the journey into small, manageable bits. All you need to do is each day make sure you do your work. So you just need to focus on one step at a time. Don't worry about how will I cover the curriculum. We've mapped it out. You will cover it. As long as you do the work, you will cover it. You will be prepared. You just need to focus on, I got to get my tasks done before the next email hits tomorrow morning. All right? I've got to be mindful of my tasks that have got a slightly longer deadline, that not to forget them. But if you just be consistent and focus on one step at a time and do the work, you will be prepared, you will succeed. Okay? So well done on taking that big first step. And as I said, thank you for trusting our team. So let me introduce you to myself for those that haven't met me and the rest of the team that you'll be working with. So my name is Mohibur Rahman. I'm a portfolio GP, which means I'm a GP with multiple roles. So I've got my clinical roles as a partner in a practice. Up until recently, I was one of the senior GPs at a secure unit for women with significant mental health illness. I cover 2 community detox units, and I've held various other clinical roles over the last 2 decades. My main role now is in education. So I'm the medical director of eMedica, but I'm also a consultant in medical education. I work with organizations like the Medical Protection Society. We've worked with various deaneries to help run assessments or help develop teaching programs to help their trainees through their membership exams. I'm one of the authors of the Prescribing Safety Assessment and written various books, articles, study guides for MRCGP, AKT, CSA, then RCA, then SCA, and GP careers. I was an examiner and invigilator for the GMC for their PLAB Part 2 OSCE and continue to be on the examiner panel for Liverpool Medical School. And I sit on the NICE GP reference panel, which gives feedback on guidelines that will impact general practice. And sometimes those lead to amendments being made before they get published. And I've been helping doctors get through membership exams now for over 20 years. This is our 20th year of running courses at eMedica. So meet the rest of the team. So Masuda Rahman is our director of e-learning. She's core faculty for all of the course and webinars. So she has helped to develop some of the learning materials, will help answer questions and queries on different live sessions throughout the whole program. Masuda's on leave today, so you'll meet her later on. Let me introduce you to Anna. Let me just allow her to start a video and put the spotlight off her. So Anna is also a core member of the e-learning team at eMedica and core faculty for course and webinars. But Anna's also the main admin for the WhatsApp group, which you were sent your welcome email this morning because we're starting tomorrow. We normally send it after this webinar, but because of the short time period, we wanted to send it to you so you could already get to know each other. I think some of you already joined, but if not, check your email from this morning. You'll see the link to join. So I hand you over to Anna, who's going to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Anna. I've already conversed with a couple of people in the WhatsApp group, so really looking forward to working with you going forward. I've been doing this, facilitating this this WhatsApp group and working on this program for, I think, something like 16 or 17 different cohorts now. So I've seen it all. I've seen, you know, people and all sorts of people using this program and really benefiting from it. So I've learned a few things, and I'd just like to offer 3 pieces of advice from the outset to really help you make the most of this. The first thing is to really commit to this program. It's very intensive. We make no apology for that. We've got a lot to cover, and we want you to be as well prepared as you can be. So it's intensive, and if you fall behind, it's very, very difficult to catch up. So really do commit to it. Do think, okay, I'm very tired, but I am just going to do those questions, or I could sit down and have a cup of coffee here and flick, you know, and just browse on Facebook, but actually I'm going to look at my case cards. If you do that, those tasks will get ticked off bit by bit. It's only for 3 months. Really commit to it. The second thing is be as organised as you can be. You would not believe how much time people waste trying to remember whether they've submitted something, or thinking there was definitely a document I wanted to look at again and I can't remember where it was. Be organised so that you make the most of your time. Time is your most precious resource. And if you're organised, you'll find that you don't waste time looking for things that you've already done and worrying about things that you don't need to worry about. And the final thing, and the most important really, is trust the process. It's an intensive program and it's for your learning, which means initially at least, and actually for some time in the program, you will probably be scoring at a level that doesn't really make you very happy. You'll be thinking, oh, I'm used to getting better scores than this. This is because you're learning. Really try and adopt a mindset that when you get a question wrong, this is a really good opportunity to hone your exam technique, to add a little bit of new knowledge, to really retain some information, and you'll be set up perfectly for when you actually go and sit the exam. Anyway, looking forward to working with you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks very much, Anna. Okay, I'll just share my screen again. Other members of the team that you might get an email from, or that, you know, they might deal with some of your queries, help with doing things like process the recordings after each live session, make sure they go onto your resources page, deal with day-to-day queries, are listed here. So Selina Begum, Tuba Jamil, Jubaida Khatun, Rabia Hussein, Laura Smith, and Rebecca Begum. So you might get correspondence, you know, when you get in touch with the team, you might have interactions with various other members of the team. Okay. So let me explain how the program works. You're on the 90-day program. And what that means is, because it's 90 days to the exam, it means that you're going to get work every single day. All right. There are no days off to cover the amount of material that we have to cover. Over 225 hours worth of work, over 4,500 questions, you know, all the live sessions in 90 days. It has to be very intense. Okay. So what will happen is every morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, or thereabouts, you're going to get an email from me. You had the first one today. That was the welcome one. That doesn't have any work in it. It just had the link to join the WhatsApp group. You had the link to the orientation video. So the link linked to the last orientation video, because we're doing this one live today. We will process this one, and you'll be able to access this one later on. But, you know, if some of you wanted to have a look at it beforehand, you had the option. Okay. But from tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, the work starts. So you'll get an email, and within that email, there'll be links to a question of the day and associated reading. There'll be a link to online revision questions that you're going to do from our question bank with answers and explanations to read. There'll be a link to daily reading tasks. Alongside that, there are weekly tasks. These are different each week. So they might include watching videos and then answering questions on what you've learned. They might include research exercises to really go into a deep dive on important topics to make sure that you've had a real good understanding of it, because these are topics that come up again and again. There might be online revision questions from different sources, like the RCGP or RCGP knowledge challenges. I'll show you exactly how it works in a minute. But first of all, you know, it's a long journey. It's really, really hard work. So it's important that you enjoy the little wins. So within your welcome pack, you've got a daily progress tracker. It's on the reverse side of that picture with that quote earlier, that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So what I recommend you do is put this up on a notice board, somewhere you're going to see it, where you're going to study. And when you finish all of the daily tasks in email number 1, day 1, i.e. tomorrow, tick the box. So, you know, at the start, nothing's ticked, right? And then you sort of work your way down. By the time you get here, you think, you know what, I'm making progress now. You get here, you're like, I'm halfway through the program. And you see how much you've covered. You get here, you think, oh, you know what, I'm nearly there. I'm in that last period now, less than a month to go now. And then when you get here and you look back and all of these are ticked, it's so satisfying. Similarly, in your welcome pack, you've got a curriculum checklist. It's 36 pages long. It's got a checklist covering about 600 or so of the most important topics from the curriculum. By the end of the program, you'll have covered them all. At the start, it's all empty. But as you cover a topic, tick it. And then what that's going to do is, as you progress, you're going to see more and more ticks. We've separated it into clinical, evidence interpretation, i.e. stats, and admin or organizational. But you know, the evening before the exam, so like yesterday, we had our last session, the last high-yield webinar for the January cohort. They had their exam today, right? So one of the things I encourage people to do is the evening before to look at this. And when they look at it and they see every single thing is ticked, gives you such a sense of achievement and confidence, because you know you've covered all the key topics in the curriculum. You can see that gives you a lot of power going into the exam, knowing I can do this. All right. So, but it's really satisfying ticking something, isn't it? That's why we've printed it as a physical thing that you can tick. All right. And then something you want to be familiar with, your resources page. At the bottom of every email that we'll send you, there's this green button just above our logo that says resource page. When you click that, this will take you to a page that has links to key resources, links to frequently asked questions, but links to the recordings of all the live sessions. As soon as they're processed, they'll automatically appear. You don't need to contact us to ask for the recordings. They'll just automatically appear as we go. Okay. There'll also be reminders of when is the next live session and so on. Okay. So this is the resources page. You click this, you'll have to log in, and then you'll be able to access it. Right. Looks like this. You'll be able to download the timetable. Once we've processed the first high yield webinar, which is in about a week's time, you'll be able to click this to watch the recording. You'll be able to click this to download the topic review. Once we've done the second one, it will just automatically appear a few days after the live session, because it takes a few days for us to process the recording and edit it out, and make it in a format that we can put it for you to access. Okay, all of that's accessed through this resource page. So let me show you an example of how you get through your daily tasks and complete them, how you submit your weekly tasks, okay, so that you're familiar with the process, and then after that we'll take any questions. Okay, so let me show you. Here is day one's email. So you're going to get this email tomorrow. Okay, and so what you do essentially is start at the top. There'll be a link to this session that we're doing now, the updated recording of the orientation video, if you want to watch that back. There'll be a link once more to join the WhatsApp group. After this one, we won't give that link again. So you either join it from the welcome email or from this one. But then this is the main format. So there's a question of the day. You click that. You'll put in your registered email. Use, please, the same email throughout the whole program, okay? I'm going to put the eMedica email. If you've got any queries, this is the main email contact, okay? And read the question. Have a look at the answer options. Once you've selected something, click next. It will tell you if you've got it right or wrong. Read the explanation, and then click to read the relevant guideline. Okay? So that's that part of it done. Okay? Then you're going to have a link to do a set of online questions from the eMedica question bank. So when you click this link, it's going to ask you to log in. So I'm going to use my login, but you're going to use yours, because we can then track everything and gather data about what areas you need most work on. So you click start. Again, you're going to put your name in. And I'm going to put the same email. This is the eMedica email. Okay. And then you work your way through. So you've got a question. It's the same format as a real exam. Questions in the exam have a title. Remember, there's a question. There's a number of options. When you submit, if you got it right, you've got an explanation here to read through. Okay. If you get it wrong, there's also an explanation. If you get it wrong, you might want to do some further reading. You might want to go and look up the relevant guidelines and so on. Okay. So you work your way through, keep going. Once you get to the last one in the set, there's 20 in a set. Once you answer the 20th question, it will automatically send us the marks and the breakdown of which ones you got right, which ones you got wrong, how long you spent doing it, what time you did it, so that we can gather data and, see which areas do you need more support in. In the last part of the program, each of you will get a different tailored revision plan to help you cover your areas where you need more support. Okay. Then you've got your reading. So that starts with case cards. So you've got your physical case cards, but if you haven't got them to hand, you can click the link, log in. I'm already logged in, right? So that's why it's automatically going there. And these are all numbered. Okay. So it said there you're going to do 1 and 2. So you're going to read through this one, learn it, read through this one, learn it. That's what to do for that one. Then you've got links to your other reading. So this first one, click this, it'll take you to relevant topic. In this case, it's depression, and then antidepressant drugs, which is related. All right. So all of these things, the daily task, you must complete within 24 hours before the next email hits. Okay. Then you've got your weekly tasks. So your weekly task will be different each week. But in this case, you click this, it'll ask you, this is on the RCGP website, you'll need to log in with your RCGP login, but it's got a specific deadline. Can you see? You've got until the 9th February to complete these ones. And when you do those and you go to submit it, click like this, it'll take you to this page, put your name in, put your email in. After you do the work from the RCGP, you can download a certificate, which will tell us your score. Upload it here, okay? So that we get access, because they don't allow the data to automatically go to anyone outside the RCGP. Whereas when you do our questions, it'll automatically come to us because you've clicked through the link and you've put your name and your email, okay? So that's an example, okay? Now, because we're starting on a weekday, did you see that there was only one set of online questions? What you'll see if I show you day 2, that when it's on the weekend, the format's exactly the same. Okay, so you've got a question. Wait a second, what are we starting? Sorry, we're starting on Thursday. So day 2 is also 1, but same format, okay? So you've got a question of the day, you've got a set of online questions, you've got case cards to do, you've got reading, you've got your weekly tasks. But if I can show you one from the weekend, so day 3 should be a weekend, right? That'll be Saturday. Let me just load that one up. I guess there we are. So day 3, because on the weekend we'll give you a bit more work, okay? So same format though, but you see there's 2 questions of the day with relevant reading. There's 2 sets of online questions, okay? You've still got your case cards, you've still got your reading, but again, because the weekend, there might be a bit more, all right? And then you've still got your weekly tasks to carry on with, all right? So that's how you do your daily tasks and how you submit your weekly tasks. Start at the top of the email, work your way down. Remember, the daily tasks you must complete before the next email hits, i.e. within 24 hours. The weekly task, there's a deadline, so you'll be able to see when the deadline is, okay? Something else really important, please don't unsubscribe from the mailing list for the program unless you want to leave the program. So part of good data management, we have to make sure that we don't send emails to people that don't want to have our emails, and we make it easy if someone wants to unsubscribe, that they can unsubscribe. So we do this by following the industry best practice, which is to have at least one-click unsubscribe option and to make it clear. So look, if you click this, you'll unsubscribe, but there's also a one-click unsubscribe. If you click either of these, you won't get any emails from us after this. Now, we won't know that you're not getting emails unless you contact us. And so if that happens, if you click it by mistake, sometimes that happens, you need to contact us so that we can put you back on the list. However, if you do this multiple times, your email provider will see this looks a bit strange. Someone's unsubscribing from a list and then being resubscribed. They might think that we're not following best practice, that we're adding people back that don't want to be. Then what they do sometimes, if you do it multiple times, is that they put a block that we just won't be allowed to add you back to a list. And you'll then have to change your email. Okay, so please do not click these unless you genuinely don't want to get emails anymore. All right. So we've been through how to do the daily tasks. We've been through how to submit the weekly tasks. Any questions, please ask them in the Q&A rather than the chat. But what I'm going to do is, for those that haven't got questions, I want to just go through some really important keys to success, and then I'll come back, and any questions that Anna hasn't already cleared, I'll come back and clear so that we can still finish at 8:30. This is a short session just to introduce you to it. So really, I've got 3 really important keys to success, building on what Anna already told you earlier. The first is that mindset really matters. Michael Corder said, to succeed, we must first believe that we can. It doesn't matter if this is your first attempt at AKT or if you've joined a program like this because you've sat it before, maybe tried other methods to prepare and not succeeded. I want you to have in your mind from today that I am going to pass this exam. I can do it as long as I do the work, and I'll do the work, so therefore I will succeed. Prepare and you will succeed. This is really important, because if you have that mindset, you need to understand that a journey of 1,000 miles, while it begins with a single step, is still 1,000 miles. We've got a long journey ahead and a lot of hard work. If you're not willing to do hard work, this just isn't the program for you. Okay. We're going to do 4,500 questions, over 225 hours of study. We're going to guide you. We're going to tell you what to study, when to do it, so you can just focus on doing the work. But you still got to do that work. Do you see? While we can make it easier for you, we can't do the work for you. We can't do the learning for you. And so having that positive attitude from the beginning that I can do this, but I know it's hard, but I'm going to put the work in and sticking to it, right? That's really important, because when you get a hard question or a topic that you struggle with, you work through it. Whereas if you start with a negative mindset, oh, this exam's impossible, I'm never going to pass. The first time you come against a topic that you're struggling with, or you do a question set and you get a really low score, your mind continues that negative into a spiral. I knew it. I knew I couldn't do it. This is awful. I can't even learn this. What's the point? And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because your mind actually shuts down and doesn't absorb the learning because you're in a negative mindset. Okay. So this is really important. Right from now, forget what's happened in the past and have in your mind a clear vision of getting a big green tick that I'm going to pass this exam. I can do it. Okay. You're highly intelligent, very talented to get this far in your training, to get into training, to competitive. Of course you can do it. Have that belief. We believe in you. You've got to have that belief in yourself. Following that is you've got to be consistent. You've got to do your daily tasks on time. Now, will there be some days where that's really hard? Yes. There might be days when you're on call. And so you might need to get up a bit earlier than usual and do some of the work before you go. You might need to maybe have a shortened lunch break and do some of the case cards. You can maybe read, in between. If it's a really busy on call and you don't get a chance, you might need to finish some of it, even though you're tired, before you go to bed. We have to make sacrifices if we want success, okay? But you've got to be consistent, because if you don't get the work done, remember the next morning you're going to get more work. And if it piles up, then it's going to be very difficult for you to catch up. So just be consistent from the beginning. With the weekly tasks, don't feel I've got to do them all with the day one email. You've got a deadline, all right? So you saw the deadline for that first one. It's like the 9th of February, okay? You've got until whatever the deadline is. What you don't want to do is leave it all to the last day, because you've got the daily tasks on that day and you're trying to do what was supposed to be spread out. Just spread it out. You've got a week, spread that out, plan it, put it in a timetable, okay? Finally, focus on the learning, not your scores. We deliberately have written both in our talk sessions, the live sessions, we've got many of those, but also our question bank is known for having harder end of questions. That's because it's a learning tool. So we have challenging questions to stimulate your learning, because there's evidence that shows if you make a mistake and you get something wrong, then learn why you got it wrong. You will remember that better than if you just got it right. Sometimes you get it right, it might have been a guess, you haven't really understood why you got it right. When you're going to get a different question in the exam, if you haven't learned the topic, you just learned that question off by heart, you might find that you struggle. This is why those doctors that follow a sort of procedure of picking a question bank and going over the same one 4 or 5 times, they often are getting 99%, and then they go to the exam and they get a really poor score. So because they've learned the questions instead of learning the subject, the topic. So, I want you to focus on the learning. Don't worry about what the score is. Early on, and probably up to a big chunk of the program, most of you will find that a lot of the scores, they're not ones you're happy with. It doesn't matter. If you focus on the learning, you'll get the score you want when you get to the exam. In the last couple of weeks, it will start coming together. Because early on, you haven't covered some of the material yet. You haven't read some of these topics. You maybe haven't mastered the exam technique. We'll cover that in every one of the live sessions. There'll be some focus on exam technique, and then we'll be consolidating the key topics, right? So as long as you do the work and you have what we call a growth mindset, that if you have a question and you get it wrong, you see, that's great that I'm covering this topic, because clearly this is something I need to learn. You see it as an opportunity for learning. Whereas if you have a fixed mindset, anytime you get a question wrong, you start going into that negative spiral. Oh, this is too hard. It shuts down your learning. So just understand that we've written hard questions on purpose, because by getting them wrong and understanding why and really learning the stuff, it's going to stimulate your learning. You're going to remember it better. Come the exam, when you get the hard ones, you'll be fine. When you get the moderate to easy ones, you'll walk those. You won't need to worry about those because there will be some hard questions in the exam too, do you see? So focus on the learning. Don't worry about your scores, all right? We have structured the program that if you do the work, you will be ready because you will have covered the topics and improved your exam technique. So trust in that and just, positive mindset from today. Be consistent with your daily and weekly tasks. Focus on the learning, not your scores. Have a positive attitude and a growth mindset that every question I get wrong is an opportunity to learn. Every day, every daily task, every bit of it is an opportunity for me to continue to learn, continue to improve, but also look at the end goal, especially for the clinical stuff, that mastering these things will actually help you day to day with seeing your patients, will help you for those that haven't done your SCA later. The SCA is primarily a clinical exam. It will help you be well prepared for that too. Okay. So any questions, let's deal with them in the Q&A. For those that haven't got questions, just a reminder again of that quote and to say, huge thank you for joining the program, trusting us. Our whole team is going to be with you every step. You've got to do the hard work, but we're going to support you. We're going to be thinking of you. We're going to be there to motivate you, okay, all the way up until your exam and beyond. So welcome to the program and we'll see you soon. Okay, thank you so much. I'll see you next at the first high yield webinar, the first live session, which is in about a week's time. Okay, thank you so much.